So, hello everyone. In this short video, we will look at some of the most important features around VCS integration in Rider. And along the way, I will also show some of my favorite features that further enhance the experience. So here we will start in a document that I have just changed. And on the left-hand side in the gutter mark, we can see a little indicator which indicates that this line has changed. If we click that, then we can actually see the diff for that. Now we'll go ahead and try to commit that. The commit action has a shortcut assigned. We can also see that from the go to actions pop-up. If I hit that shortcut, then simply on the left-hand side, I will see the local changes tool window. Now, I'm a big fan of organizing changes grouped by directory, but we can also disable that if you like. In any case, I can use the checkboxes to either include those changes in a commit or not. If I go to the change that I just want to commit, like the signed packages here, then we can see the diff view in the middle of the editor, or basically where the documents usually go. I'm a big fan of the side-by-side view, but we can also use the unified viewer, which will show the document in a, basically in a unified view. The great benefit of the side-by-side viewer is that if we go here, we can also use the Alt-Enter key to fix inspections. So for instance, we can see we still have this little triangle here, which shows here some code smells or issues around that document. And if I go here, I can actually use the Alt-Enter key to remove the unused directive in this file. So if I hit that, that will get fixed. In this case, I could have also used the little revert button right here. So in this case, I accidentally added an empty line. And just by clicking that, I can just revert that. So if I don't want to do that, like with some other changes that I don't yet want to include, those little checkboxes here are the same way as for as I already described for the local changes tool window. And only those that are checked are basically being included in the commit. But for now, I will just revert that as well. So then, back in the local changes tool window, I can choose the commit message. And I can do so either by basically typing the commit message, or I hit Control Space, and I can choose from some of the previous messages that I used. So in this case, this will be some kind of a fix-up commit, so I will use a message that I previously used. So if the commit I want to change was really the last one, I could actually use the amend option. But in this case, the commit is a bit more far behind. So for now, I will just commit this change like that, and then later clean up everything. Okay, now we can see our commit is now here in the log view for our repository. The one that I wanted to fix is actually here, and what I can simply do is to right-click here, then interactive rebase from here, and now I can resort my commits based on my needs. So I will use the previous commit, that is this one, that was a little bit further in the past, resorted, and the new commit that we've just added, I will mark as a fix-up commit. And I can do so just by using keyboard shortcuts. So if we right-click one of the commits here, we can see we have several shortcuts. We have revert, fix-up, those are the ones that I need. So we can choose here to revert it. And since I'm actually finished now, I can add a proper commit message like that, and add via integration. Then confirm that, and for the second one I will mark it as a fix-up commit, and those two will be merged into this one, and then start rebasing. So meanwhile, Rider will do everything that's needed. So for instance, currently active changes will be stashed and then unstashed again afterwards, so that we don't need to really care about that. One more thing I want to show you is working with change lists. And this is indeed a very cool feature, and it's funny that that a user was telling me about that, how they are using the changeless features. And I just want to show you here in this document. Let's go to the document. We have an API key, and for local testing purpose, I was adding that API key to my code just to test it locally. But of course, I don't want to commit and push that to my public repository, or even if it was a private repository, it's not a good idea to commit and push those secrets. So what we can do is selecting this change and move it to another change list. And I always have a change list ready to go, which is called secret. And if I move that change to the secret change list, then I'm less likely to accidentally commit it. So if I now have a different change, and we would just insert a new line for that, and I hit, or let's just rename something, and I want to commit that, then the secrets from here, all the changes that are assigned to that change list, won't go by default into the commit that I'm about to prepare. Speaking about preparing commits, we can of course also use those change lists to prepare different commits. And just assuming I was about to commit those secrets, what I can do, and let's see, I think it's here, edit change lists. I can actually prepare the commit message just by changing the comment here, and that will be used for the next commit from the secrets change list. Okay, down here in the log view, of course, we can also search a bit for anything we want. What's really great about VCS integration in Rider, and we kind of inherit that from IntelliJ, is that the log history is actually cached and very fast. It's very fast to search in those log histories, especially also, or most importantly, in really big repositories like we have, for instance, with the ReSharper repository, 500,000 commits, I think, and it's still that fast, as you can see in my case. We can reduce the search results to certain branches, for instance. We can pick particular users, and we will have completion for that. No, that didn't work. Let's try again. Like that, for instance. We can also specify a certain time range from which the commit should have happened. And very interestingly, also, we can select folders that should be only in the search results. So for instance, I can select this folder right here, and then I would only get commits which affected this particular folder. From here, if we have different branches, like here, for instance, we can also right-click here and choose to cherry-pick something, or if it was from our same head commit, then we can go somewhere and decide to revert the commit, stuff like that, basically. Now, at some point, of course, we also want to push our changes. The push dialog is a really great way to check on things, like a final checkup point, because all the commits that aren't yet pushed will show up here. And on the right-hand side, again, I have the options to group my changes by directory or not, whichever I prefer, and then double-clicking it will also show us the diff view again. Yeah, basically just to review everything that we are going to push into the public. Like in my case, you've seen I actually changed beyond the point of what I have already pushed. So in my case, I would need to force push. That will also ring a bell and ask us for confirmation, but I won't do it right now because I want to show you something else before. Rider also ships with the VCS operations quick list. And that's a really cool way of doing several operations, or all the operations related to VCS integration. So again, we have commit right here, we have commit file rollback, etc. And by the way, I forgot that. If you want to know the shortcut to invoke that, just go to the Go to Action menu, search for VCS operations pop up, and you can see in my case it's the Control V shortcut. So let's go back. And what I use that predominantly for is for creating and switching branches. So in this case, I'm going to the branches menu, and I could create a new branch just by typing new, for instance. I have the new branch, and then create a new feature, whatever I like. I can choose if I want to check out the branch or not. But for now, I don't want to do that. Another way is to, oh, that was too fast. I can also, and that's what I did wrong right now. I used the 5 key, and you see we have this little those mnemonics, and to basically do a quick dial, and to go to branches I can use the 7 key. And from here, what's also interesting is firstly I can create additional favorites, like I can say this is really interesting to me, or this one, etc. For other branches, or particularly for local branches, I can see if they have incoming or outgoing changes, and I can also, if I further search a certain branch, and I can also just start typing to filter that, I can go to the right with the arrow keys and then choose to check out, or to rebase the current onto this one, or to delete it, or even if you want to compare with the current. And then we have a comparison of those branches. In this case, it's the commits that exist or doesn't exist in the other branch. And yeah, we can also cherry pick from there, and whatever we want. Those comparing, by the way, also works from here. So it doesn't need to be a branch, but we can also compare a certain commit with our local working copy. Okay, so far for the VCS operations list. Another important thing working with VCS is investigating the history, right? So, and we can do so if we are in a file. We can go up here and use the Show History button, or of course it's also available from here. Show History right there, and then we can see what has been changed in this file at what particular point. I think, yeah, right. And then we can go there, investigate the changes, or see the diff, and then decide to either revert to there or just work with it. What's also quite helpful is sometimes we're dealing with this large amount of history, but we're looking for something very specific. And let's say we're looking for something specific that happened in this method, or actually it's a property, but in this selection. Then we can use history or selection. Let's see, it's called history selection. Show history for selection. And if we do that, then we will see only the commits that affected the selection that we previously had. And we can go through, and it's way easier to find what we're actually looking for. It's kind of like I've shown with the path right here to filter the result set to a certain directory, but within the code file, basically. Another thing that I really like is the local history feature, and that is really something that can save your day if you remember to use it. So I want to motivate the idea a bit, and that is just imagine you're working on some bug, and there are several ways of fixing it. And you're trying a couple of options or alternatives, and then you realize, okay, that one alternative that I followed or implemented at first was the way to go. But you didn't commit those changes, you haven't pasted them anywhere, and yeah, it seems that they are lost, and maybe you are lucky and you can use the undo stack to go back. But with the local history, it's a bit easier, because the local history is some kind of a automatic VCS repository for all your code changes. And we can see that for that particular file that I'm currently working on. And everything that's logged here, I haven't done anything for it to actually happen. So those save points, or we can call them save points or entries here, those happen automatically. And let's say I'm right here, and let's imagine this target foo right here is really some very, very important change that I accidentally have overridden. I basically lost it, but I want it back. And then using local history, I can just go there and choose to accept it and merge it into my working copy. And then going back, where is it? I have back my foo target. And that's as easy as it can be, right? Very important to know, sometimes we also make changes across different files, and the local history is not only available for a single file like here, but also for directories, or in this case properties. But both ways work basically. And I will invoke it for the project in this case, and then show local history, and we can see for some of those items, let's find something where it works, or that actually has changes for multiple files. Like in this case, for instance, we can see there are several changes to different files, and funnily, it also includes the bin and obj changes. But I guess it's obvious what we are looking for are those three. And then we can again show the diff for them. The diff will be shown there. And then, yeah, basically decide if we right-click some item here, we can also decide to revert to this particular point. And clicking revert will not only, like the undo stack, delete everything that's in front of it, but it will create a new item which says revert. Basically just like VCS works, right? If we revert something, then a new commit will be created, which basically removes the other commit. And what's also important here, going back to my motivation about trying different solutions to a single problem, if we want to do that, then it's good to use the put label action, because then we intentionally create a save point in our local history that we can that is easier to revert. Like, let's give it a name, checkpoint. And now if I show local history, then we can see here we have a label which says checkpoint, and I don't need to search through the whole list like you've seen I had to do, and it will intentionally make a checkpoint. Other than that, the local history has some heuristics to create those checkpoint items. And it's also important to know how, or I get this question a lot, how many days in the past will automatically be saved or retained, basically. And that is can be configured from the registry. Let's go here. I actually have never used it. But it should be days to keep. Let's try again, days to keep. And here we have 5 days to keep this history. I think in some cases it's even a bit longer, because if we look again here, yes, from the middle of June in my case. But anyways, it persists over restarting your IDE, of course. That's very important, and for quite some time in the past, actually. So with that said, those are the things that I wanted to present. Some of the most important things related to working with VCS. If you have any further questions, always feel free to reach out to us. And yeah, I hope those features and gimmicks make it easier for you to work with VCS. So thanks for watching.